Welcome back to Golf WRX's Winning What's in the Bag, where this week we are celebrating Jhonattan Vegas's win at the 2024 3M Open. I know I'm probably butchering his first name, but we used to just call him Jonny Vegas. It's glad to see him back in the winner's circle. I know there was a time when we saw him much more on TV, but it's awesome to see him back and his game shaping into form. With him, we don't have a true what's in the bag that's really current. So some of these photos are going to be stock images or a couple images of some older or his clubs that we had from a long time ago. But yeah, we just don't have a super recent what's in the bag from Jonny. So we're going to go through it, but hopefully photo-wise you understand. So we're going to start at the top as we always do, and driver is going to be the Titleist TSi3. This is the 9-degree head, and the TSi is a generation old. Probably soon to be 2 generations old with what we've seen on tour with the GT, but the TSi came before the TSR series. He's got a 9-degree head. It was first. This is the first driver that I think had the ATI titanium face on it, the TSi3, and it is at the rear movable weight, and he's got the weight switched over to 1 click into the heel, so H1 on that rear weight. Not sure on the hosel settings, unfortunately, not able to get a good look at those, but he does have that sliding weight over to the heel, just 1, so just maybe a slight draw or helping him kind of square the club face up just a little bit easier. It is shafted up with a Fujikura Speeder NX Blue 70TX. Now, the NX Blue is not as well known as some of the other Fuji shafts. It is actually kind of a mid-high launching, mid-low spinning shaft in the 70TX, and comes in about 76 grams and 2.9 degrees of torque. Really smooth, really actually kind of an underrated shaft if you're looking for something at a little higher launch. For a fairway wood, he's playing, again, something a little more retro, the TaylorMade M6, and this is a Rocket 14. They used to call the lower lofts underneath 15. They used to call them Rocket heads. Yeah, it's the Rocket 14, so 14 degrees of loft. This M6 has the bonded hosel, but it does have some familiar features like the speed slot on the bottom as well. Kind of a higher launching, a little bit higher spinning, and more forgiving model compared to the M5 when it came out back in 2019. In this, he's got a Fujikura Atmos Tour Spec Black 9TX. This is a tour issue only part. I think they only made up to 8TX for us at retail, but the Atmos series had a red, blue, and black. Black is the low launch, low spin model. But yeah, this is, I believe a tour issue part. I don't believe the 9TX ever hit the retail market for us, but a 90 weight range, extremely stout, and this is a low launch, low spin piece from prior year as well. But the Atmos series is really smooth and performed really well. Then we move into his irons, and his 3-iron is going to be a Titleist T200. This is the previous 2021 model, so not the current one that's out right now, much like Jonny likes to play a lot of older products. This is the 2021 model, so it has a slightly different back, but it's still the same hollow multi-piece design. Little added launch, a little more ball speed. He's got a thinner face to it, and also a little bit more forgiving. Not that necessarily guys at his level are looking for that as the main feature, but something easier to hit in the 3-iron with a little more ball speed. And it is shafted up with a Project X 6.5. This is the OG standard Project X shaft. 6.5 is the extra stiff, about 125 grams. It's low spin, and I believe it's kind of more initial high launch and then low spin. So not as low launch as some other shafts out there, but still really low, controlled spin. And it has a really kind of a flat apex, really boring trajectory after that initial higher flight. So he's got that at the top end of the bag, and then the rest of his irons, he's got Mizuno MP4s at 4-through pitching wedge. Now, the MP4 is kind of a classic grain flow forged blade from Mizuno. A lot of people consider it one of the best blades that Mizuno kind of ever made, at least in recent times, but a really classic muscle shape, compact, easy to work the ball, flight it down, hit it high. Guys like Jonny can do basically whatever they want in terms of working the ball around the course. These are shafted up with some real stiff shafts, Project X 7.0s. These come in at about 130 grams. Same thing, kind of low launch, low spin. I think they have a little bit higher initial launch, but very low spin shafts for players who are bringing a lot of ball speed and a lot of spin to their shots. When we move into wedges, he's going to actually play something somewhat newer. This is going to be the Titleist Vokey SM10. And he's got a 50.12 F grind. So this is a one that we talk about a whole lot. F grind's the full sole, great for full shots. Doesn't dig too much, has good turf interaction in the 50 in the gap wedge. And then for his sand wedge, he's got a 54.10S. So the 50/40, but it is actually bent 1 degree weak. So 54 bent 1 week, So it's playing at 55 with 11 degrees of balance. The S grind, again, slightly wider sole, a little bit of trailing edge relief. They kind of grind off the back half. That kind of helps that club get through the turf just a little bit faster, exit just a little bit faster, while still giving good turf interaction, good float in the sand, and reduced digging on those softer, steep shots. These both are shafted up with Project X 6.5s, so a little bit softer than his irons for partial shots and things like that, a little more feel, but they're shafted up with those, again, about 125 grams. And then for his lob wedge, he's playing a TaylorMade MG high toe. So this is that high toe, kind of flared out toe shape in the 60 degree. And a lot of people play him in the lob wedges because as you open the face up, the tendency to miss higher off the face or out near the toe is just a whole lot greater. So this thing here, they add some mass or add some surface area out near the toe. Some mass is moved up higher, and shots struck up there will come out with just a little bit more spin and a little bit more, more control. In his putter, he's going to have a L.A.B Golf Link .1. So the L.A.B Link is the blade version. If you're not familiar with L.A.B Golf, they are torque balanced putters. So when you hold them up in your hands and just let them kind of settle themselves, the face is always pointed towards the hole or towards the target. This is the blade version. So it's kind of a center shafted option, but the actual head of it looks much like kind of a Newport 2 style. It's just a traditional blade, traditional bumpers on it, and the shaft just kind of goes into the center there. But they're designed, the Link .1, for people who don't want to look at the mallets, the larger ones there. This is kind of that model for more traditional look. It is shafted up with an Acra/L.A.B collab. This is a graphite putter shaft that they have. They use it in a lot of their models. I've used it in the Mez and the DF3. Really kind of a little bit stiffer, a little softer feel to it. Done in a matte black finish on the one he has, but just kind of aids the feel and adds a little stiffness to the putter. And yeah, the torque balance blade is the Link .1. Finally, with his golf ball, he is playing the Titleist Pro V1. I believe he just switched into this like 3 or 4 tournaments ago, but the Pro V1 is the 3-piece ball, little flatter trajectory, lower spin in the long game, a little softer feel than the Pro VX1. So that is the ball probably most played on tour at the moment. So that is Jhonattan Vegas's winning What's in the Bag from the 3M Open. Congratulations again to him. Really cool to see him back on the winner's circle. And yeah, join us next week when we take a look at the next winner, What's in the Bag.